Gamers. The story follows Keita Amano, a shy and introverted guy who's totally obsessed with video games. One day, the most popular girl at school, the beautiful and charismatic Karen Tendu, invites him to join the school's gaming club. Sounds like the perfect setup for a romance, right? But here comes the twist. Keita turns her down. Yep, he rejects the most sought-after girl in school. Why? Because he likes gaming solo at his own pace, no competition, no pressure. Just chill vibes. From there, the anime turns into a full-blown romantic comedy packed with ridiculous situations. There's a love triangle, non-stop misunderstandings, and people thinking they're being cheated on when no one's even dating yet. It's basically a chain of romantic plot twists, with the characters tripping over their own feelings and their own mental games. But behind all the chaos, Gamers also shows how a shared love for video games can bring together people who seem nothing alike, and how love, sometimes, is way more complicated than any final boss. 2.5-dimensional seduction. Have you ever fallen in love with an anime character? Now imagine if that character suddenly came to life right in front of you. That's basically what happens in 2.5-dimensional seduction. The story follows Okumura, a proud otaku who's absolutely obsessed with a 2D character named Lilial, from a manga called Magical Girl Innocent Lily. He's the president of his school's manga club and lives in that classic 2D only real girls don't matter mindset, straight up waifu territory. But everything changes when Lily Cub shows up, a rookie cosplayer who, to his shock, dresses exactly like his dream girl Lilial. And more than that, she wants to join the club just to cosplay as that very character. But here's the twist. Unlike his idealized 2D waifu, this girl is 100% real, and she starts coming on to him hard. What follows is a romantic comedy packed with spicy moments, awkward situations, and tons of tension between the 2D fantasy world and real-life 3D emotions. Okumura finds himself torn. Can he open up to a real girl, or will he stay locked in his waifu-only bubble? 2.5-dimensional seduction is the perfect anime for anyone who loves eki comedy, cosplay, otaku culture, and quirky romance. It's sexy, hilarious, and has just the right amount of sweetness to make you fall for the characters. If you've ever had a crush on an anime character, watch out. This anime is about to call you out. Sakano. The story revolves around Tomoya Aki, a hardcore otaku completely obsessed with anime, light novels, and games. One day, he has a sudden revelation. He wants to create the ultimate visual novel. But to do that, he'll need to build a dream team, and that's where the Real Challenge begins. First, he recruits Erori Spencer, a super talented artist and his childhood friend who's the definition of a textbook tsundere. Then comes Yutaha Kasumigakaka, a gorgeous, mysterious genius author who's already made a name for herself in the light novel world. And finally, the wild card, Megumi Kato, a girl so plain, so average, that Tomoya chooses her to be the game's main heroine because of how normal and realistic she is. What starts as a simple game project quickly turns into a tangle of emotions. There's rivalry, jealousy, creative clashes, and of course romance. Each girl has her own unique bond with Tomoya, and while they're working to create the perfect game, they're also dealing with their own feelings, and with a protagonist whose heart still seems stuck in the 2D world. Sakano blends romantic comedy, drama, tons of otaku references, and a cool behind-the-scenes vibe that makes the whole story even more engaging. It may seem lighthearted at first, but it delivers real emotion, love triangles, and a bunch of unforgettable moments. High Score Girl. Before the internet exploded, before consoles took over bedrooms, the real battles went down in arcades. And that's exactly where the story of High Score Girl begins. An anime that blends romance, rivalry, and the golden age of 90s gaming. The plot follows Haruo Yaguchi, a kid completely hooked on arcade games. He doesn't care about school, he's not popular, not good-looking. But put him in front of Street Fighter 2 and he turns into a legend. Until one day he gets totally destroyed, and worst of all, by a girl from his class, Akira Uno. She's rich, graceful, quiet, and apparently an absolute arcade goddess. From there, a relationship full of rivalry, awkward moments, and growing feelings begins to bloom, all to the soundtrack of coins clinking and buttons being mashed. Haruo tries to figure out this mysterious girl, while she slowly shows that behind her perfect image, she's also using games as a way to escape real life. As time goes on, another girl enters the picture, Koharu Hidaka. She starts to grow closer to Haruo, kicking off a love triangle packed with tension, emotion, and of course, Even more arcade showdowns. High Score Girl isn't just a romantic comedy. It's a heartfelt tribute to classic gaming. Final Fight, Virtua Fighter, Darkstalkers, Street Fighter Alpha. All these games are part of the story like actual characters. My Love Story with Nado-Kun at LV999. The story follows Akane, a college student who just got dumped by her boyfriend, a guy she actually met in an MMORPG. And as if the breakup wasn't bad enough, the jerk already moved on, with another girl from the same game she still plays. Brutal, right? That's when Yamada enters the picture, a well-known player in the game, famous for being skilled, cold, and completely out of touch with reality. The guy only cares about leveling up, farming loot, and grinding events. Is he good-looking? Yeah. But he's also antisocial, blunt, and emotionally clueless. Basically, a walking NPC when it comes to love. But somehow, the two start growing closer both in-game and in real life. At first, it's unintentional. Then it's just convenient. And before they know it, they're caught up in a connection that starts messing with both of their emotions. Nado-Kun LV999 blends romance, comedy, and that super relatable modern gamer vibe. It's about fresh starts, insecurity, unexpected crushes, and how sometimes the right person shows up in the most random lobby of your life. Otakoi, working in an office, dealing with deadlines, annoying bosses, and still trying to find someone who's cool with your inner otaku? Feels like mission impossible. But in Wotakoi, love is hard for otaku. That's exactly where the fun begins. The story kicks off with Narumi Mamos, a young woman starting a new job and dead set on hiding her true self. A die-hard otome gamer and fujoshi. Basically, she loves romance games and shipping male characters. But past relationships have left her pretty scarred. It's rough out there. At her new workplace, she runs into Hirotaka Nafuji, a childhood friend who's the total opposite of her. Calm, quiet, and proudly out as a hardcore gamer and unapologetic otaku. They might be different on the outside, but deep down they share the same love for anime, manga, and games. After a few chats and some laughs, he casually drops, "Why don't we just date?" Then, straightforward, no drama, just like that. And so begins this wholesome, hilarious relationship full of moments only fellow nerds and geeks will truly relate to. The anime dives into the everyday lives of the couple and their friends, like Hanako, a hardcore cosplayer, and Kabakura, a closet otaku disguised as a serious adult. All of them trying to juggle work, relationships, and their favorite hobbies without losing themselves in the process. Remake Our Life. The story follows Kyuya Hashiba, a 28-year-old guy going through the classic young adult nightmare. Jobless, broke, lost, and haunted by the feeling that he made all the wrong choices in life. He once dreamed of working in game development and creative production but gave up, and now he's drowning in regret. But one day, after reflecting on how everything went downhill, he just wakes up 10 years in the past. Yep, he's back at the point where he could still choose to enter art school, where all the doors were still open, like life just handed him a second chance. Armed with future knowledge and the maturity that comes from being kicked around by life, Kyuya decides to do it all differently this time. He enrolls in art school, meets some amazing people, ones who, in the future, would become big names in the industry, and starts to fall back in love with the creative world. But it's not all smooth sailing. Going back in time doesn't erase your doubts. And not everything that seems right actually is. With every new step, he faces tough decisions. Because changing the past can mess with everything, including people's feelings. Remake Our Life blends romance, drama, friendship, and real-life struggles. It's about chasing dreams, facing failure, and realizing that even when life gives you a second shot, the path forward is still anything but easy. Genshiken. The story kicks off with Sasahara, a shy college freshman who's always loved otaku culture, but never had the guts to admit it openly. That is, until he stumbles upon Genshiken, a university club that calls itself the Society for the Study of Modern Visual Culture. Translation: a bunch of otakus who spend their time geeking out over anime, playing visual novels, and going to doujinshi conventions. The club is a total mixed bag. There's the guy obsessed with mechas, another one who collects figures, some who are just there for the hentai, and one who's way more into Gundam than his actual classes. Slowly but surely, Sasahara starts to open up and finds where he truly belongs. But the real standout is Saki Kasakabe, the one non-otaku in the group. She only gets involved because her boyfriend's a member, and she ends up being the outsider constantly judging everyone. But over time, she starts to understand and even warm up to the world she used to mock. Genshiken is a different kind of slice of life. It doesn't rely on big drama or over-the-top romance. Instead, it focuses on day-to-day life, random conversations, otaku events, personal struggles, and the friendships that grow out of a shared love for geek culture. Dandadan, do you believe in ghosts or aliens? For Momo Ice, spirits are totally real. But for Ken Takakura, or Akarin, for the homies, it's aliens and intergalactic conspiracies that make sense. And it's this silly debate that kicks off the wildest anime of recent times. Dandadan, the story starts when Momo and Akarin make a bet to see who's right. Each one goes to check out the opposite side. She visits a spot known for alien sightings, and he heads to a haunted temple. The result? They were both right. Yep, the world's crawling with creepy ghosts, supernatural entities, pervy aliens, and paranormal powers no one can fully explain. In the middle of all this chaos, Momo and Akarin end up gaining completely bonkers abilities and have to survive increasingly bizarre encounters. Momo inherits an insane spiritual power from her badass grandma, a no-nonsense exorcist who steals the show every time she pops up. As for Akarin, well, he gets an alien-based power that turns him into something straight-up demonic, with a design so wild it looks ripped from a psychedelic nightmare. But the best part of Dandadan isn't just the action or the madness. It's the chemistry between the characters. Momo is tough, sharp-tongued, but has a huge heart. Akarin is shy, nerdy, and 100% lovable. Together, they make that kind of duo you root for from the very first episode. The visuals are mind-blowing. Stylish art, intense battles, and villains that are wildly creative and totally out of the box. Every episode is a roller coaster of emotions, beatdowns, and hilarious moments. Dandadan is tossing Mob Psycho, Jujutsu Kaisen, and Gintama in a blender and serving it up with a massive shot of pure adrenaline. If you're into crazy action, charming characters, and a world where literally anything can happen, this is your next obsession. 3D Kanojo, Real Girl. Have you ever been that outcast student who just wanted to stay in your own little corner with your anime, games, and manga? That's Tutsui Hikari, the main character of 3D Kanojo, Real Girl, a guy who's basically given up on the real world and would much rather hang out with his 2D waifus than deal with actual people. He gets picked on at school, called a weirdo otaku, and hides behind a screen, until one day, life straight up slaps him in the face. That's when he meets Iroha Igarashi, a gorgeous, bold, popular girl with zero filters and way too much attitude. She's the total opposite of Hikari. People at school are always gossiping about her. She says exactly what's on her mind, and has no patience for fake behavior. After they're forced to help out together in the library as punishment, she suddenly drops this bomb. "Wanna date me?" And just like that, an unexpected relationship kicks off between two people from completely different worlds. The guy lost in his 2D bubble, and the girl who looks like she came straight out of a shoujo anime, but who's also hiding her own wounds and insecurities. 3D Kanojo. Real Girl is a story about growing up, learning empathy, and realizing that love can show up in the most unexpected places. Hikari slowly learns how to deal with real emotions, friendships, frustrations, and how to face life beyond the screen, while Iroha reveals a softer, deeper side of herself that hardly anyone gets to see. It's not just your average high school romance. There are arguments, confidence issues, wholesome moments, and scenes where you'll want to jump into the screen just to give them both a pep talk. It's about messing up, saying sorry, trying again, all wrapped in that perfect anime blend of drama and heartwarming feels. So, did you vibe with the list? Drop a comment if we missed an anime or tell us what theme you want in the next list. Smash that like button and subscribe. See you in the next one.